The Hawai'i Sports Radio Network on 95.1 FM and AM 760 presents Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani.
Good morning, beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den. Alongside Paul Brecht, I'm Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. So hello and welcome to the show. And there's Paul manning the controls. Thank you guys for tuning in this and every Monday, especially when we are live on YouTube, and every weekday morning from 8 to 10 on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, hawaiisportsradio.com, or wherever you get most podcasts. We appreciate all of you that do. You can chime in on the live chat if you want to get in on the convo, or text us at 808-888-KGU1. That's 808-888-5481. And remember, like I just said, normally we stream live every Monday. We will continue that into the new year. And this Wednesday, we will have a special Wednesday live stream to kind of close out this 2025 with all of you, as it is New Year's Eve already this Wednesday. 2025 is all power. We're down to the last few days of this year, and we had 3 live streams last week because we just wanted to keep the party going from Christmas Eve with the Hawai'i Bowl, and then continue that party on Friday. And here you are. I mean, we're giving the beautiful people what they want, Paul. This is what they were asking for, but it's been a fun one. And like I said, we have some things and hopefully more interesting things planned for the new year that maybe within the next 4 or 5 months, things could look a lot different here. So we'll see how everything goes from here on out. But I hope you guys had a great weekend, and thank you again for joining us. It was a fun one. We'll get into some more Hawai'i Bowl Hawai'i football, conversation. Take a look at now that transfer portal. That's another thing. So the New Year's is coming, but that means the transfer portal opening is going to be here in no time. It opens up on January 2nd. So we already are aware of multiple players and other players, not just here in Hawaii, but all across the nation, have announced their intent, either themselves or via their representation, to enter the college football transfer portal. But the portal itself does not open yet until January 2nd. So we're just going to get into some Hawaii football conversation, kind of recap some of the players that Hawaii lost either due to eligibility, also some players that we could potentially see back in college football. Hopefully they will be back here in Hawaii because of waivers that they are seeking. And then a lot of significant spots to replace, at least according to when we look back at the most recent depth charts, including that in the Hawai'i Bowl. So a lot more Hawaii football conversation to go on. And then I was thinking about it, Paul. I'm like, wait a minute. If it's going to be anything like last year, spring practices will be here in no time, because this past year or earlier in 2025, we started in February. So I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, I'm not complaining that it felt like Hawaii football season was done and we're starting up again. But just to remind everyone that we could have Hawaii football conversation in full blast in just a month and a half or so. So, hey,
it moves fast. Like, it's funny because I sat there and I was like, man, I'm going to miss football. It's like, yes, I am going to miss the actual football games themselves, but football doesn't leave, really. We get maybe, I mean, what is it? Portal opens on January 2nd, and realistically, this is a very liberal understanding of days off from football, because like you're mentioning, between the Hawai'i Bowl and now, and honestly even before then, guys are entering their names or announcing that they will be entering their names into the transfer portal, so you got to keep track of that. And then, of course, you hear things on the other side where it's like, ooh, maybe these guys will come into the University of Hawaii, and then you look at how many of the guys it's a whole mess. I'm excited for it. I don't miss football because football's always around, and that is a great thing. I'm excited for it, and I'm embracing the transfer portal era.
Yes, we have to at least somewhat try to. But speaking of football, it does feel weird that for the life of a Bears fan, the season continues.
I was going to say, how are we feeling today? I legitimately was curious as I watched the end of that game yesterday, and I don't know, maybe we'll talk more NFL today, but as I watched the end of that game yesterday, it was the two like on each shoulder where, there's one side, oh, that's a heartbreaking loss for Koo. But on the other side, it's like, do the Bears is that a Bears game of the past at all? Where it's like, it was touchdown after touchdown for the first 10 drives. It was crazy. It was an awesome football game.
It felt like, it felt like, and we'll get into more details about all the NFL scenarios and stuff a little later in the show, but just real quick, yes, that close loss to the 49ers yesterday. You're welcome to Niners, and I guess sorry for Seahawks fans because we could have helped you if the Bears had won that game yesterday, but it felt like for our fellow MMA fans in here, it felt like the last 10 seconds of like a Max Holloway fight before the entire game, where Max Holloway points to the middle of the octagon, and he's just like, let's go. And he's just like, and I'm just watching it in pure entertainment because, as it's no secret, your girl likes to root for the over every single time. I just want to see points scored. And you're just like, all right, like I can't even be mad at the touchdowns given up by the Bears because they would answer back, and we'll get into details on how that game ended. But yes, Kings of the North, more importantly, thank you to the Baltimore Ravens. You're not having the best season by far from what was expected, but you did a solid in beating the Green Bay Packers on Saturday, which was a good way to cap off a very eventful Saturday that I had already had that day. I wanted to just chat about that real quick and give a shout out to everyone that showed up to the Aloha for Conce event at High Life South Shore Market. I got some photos up there for you guys on our YouTube that it was really nice to see everyone. Honestly, had no expectation that there were going to be hundreds of you guys, of all of you beautiful people that came out, that waited in line for like 3 hours to meet Conce. And again, this was his final public appearance, free autographs session and meet and greet until he potentially comes back as hopefully part of an NFL team. But he's going to go off. He does leave this week to kind of start the process and preparation for the NFL draft that's coming up. That'll be here in no time in April. But Paul's definitely looking forward to, and that's his football season.
I was going to say, the draft is already here. I don't know what you're talking about.
So it was really cool, like, so much to see all of your smiling faces. The line wrapped around Ward Village. And you know what? Shout out to everybody. Special shout out to a lot of the people that I was able to meet. I ended up not knowing, but I ended up kind of manning the door and controlling the crowd that came in. And you know what? It was pretty awesome because I got to meet a good handful of people that listen to the podcast, that watch the YouTube. I had these two lovely ladies, hello to you if you guys are watching right now, that told me the only reason they knew that this was happening was because they watched our Friday YouTube show, and I had mentioned it at the very end too. So they were watching the YouTube to the ending because I remember I mentioned the Conce event towards the ending of our show on Friday. So shout out to all of you that I got to meet and talk story with briefly that told me that you listen or watch the show. And as always, we appreciate you guys. So it was kind of neat that wasn't my planned duty of the day, but it worked out because I got to meet a lot of beautiful people, talk story, and then some, kind of the question sometimes when they come out, they're like, are you that girl on the podcast?
Are you that girl on the podcast?
I'm like, yes.
That should be your fantasy football name next year. That girl on the podcast.
Are you that girl on the podcast? So that was really cool. Like, that was the side part of, outside of just how fascinating it was to watch everyone, and how wonderful Conce was, and how he just signing for a little over 4 hours, and his attitude and demeanor did not change from beginning to end. He was so, and even behind the scenes, like even when we closed the door, like Conce was just like laughing the entire time. I posted this on our Instagram. His final autographed item went to Itsuki Takemoto, former baseball player that was there, drawing an actual like foot on the shirt to Itsuki. And that was the entire, like, that was Conce through and through. So that was really, and not like I expected anything else from Conce, but when you get reassurance that these people like are the way that they are is pretty awesome. And we could not like hope for the best for him as he goes in through his next journey. But I think and you can see more photos on HawaiiSportsRadio.com. And one of the quotes from a woman that waited in line, saying that she waited in line for 3 hours. And the only other time that she did that was to see Paul McCartney. to get his autograph. And she said that this wait for Kansei was well worth it. And I told Kansei that, like, I told him what the lady said, and she was like, oh, and he's so cute. He's like, Tokyo To, the Beatles.
It's so funny, man.
So I'm like,
but
yes,
I get it.
Tokyo To and the Beatles. Let's go.
They're on the same level. No, I was glad to see just the amount of people that made their way out, the reports about the line being so long, hours before it even opened, or time before it even opened. It's awesome, and it couldn't go to a more deserving person, because it's funny, you're sitting there talking about like his last free, public appearance for a while, and it's just funny for me to think about like Kansei charging for it, because I always will know that that's not really him. Like, that will be, if he ever charges for autographs, it'll be like his representation or whatever it is. Because Kansei, I'm sure he enjoyed 4 hours to sign autographs is insane.
And we took one.
Like, my wrist hurts thinking about it.
In total, maybe he took I know the people that were waiting in the second half of the session felt like they waited longer. But for Kansei himself, he maybe took 10 minutes off from actually signing, because even when we took that break, he still kind of signed some items and then
Couldn't help
actually
himself.
took a break. So probably 10 minutes in between those 4 hours is all that the break that Kansei took from actually like signing and stuff.
Well, good news. He's getting prepared for his professional career, because everybody is going to continue loving him in the future. He is the easiest human being ever to root for, and I watched a bunch of kickers miss over this past season, so plenty of jobs should be open. I know a guy who's pretty darn good. One might argue he's the best in the country. So, no, glad he had this type of send-off. Glad Itsuki Takimoto made his way out, too. I know that was a fun time with him, Akira Jacobs, Kansei, all of the Japanese players who were at UH at one time who were just I shouldn't say were friends, because clearly they still are friends, but it was always fun to see their like adventures together. It's fun for them to come back, especially when one of them is a professional baseball player now.
Well, and just I guess how the popularity trickled down, because remember, it was kind of like Akira, because he played on the Japanese Olympic team and all of that stuff, and they had that big game against France and yada yada yada, and so it was like Akira Jacobs.
The picture of him versus Wemby.
It's like Akira Jacobs, and then you had Itsuki kind of get in there because he was this dual way guy. He was like
he was
could hit
our
and he could
Shohei
pitch,
in a sense.
wore Shohei's number, all of that stuff, and then like Kansei last year, right? Because he had some misses that were like unfortunate.
He was the guy replacing Matt Shipley,
so
who was
kind of
awesome.
Kansei was really under the radar last year, and then took that off season, and then just exploded this year. And we know Akira transferred. Wish him the best now. Itsuki graduated, and he's in the pros. He's training right now. He was actually late to the signing because he had a Zoom call with his coach. So kind of important. It's kind of, you can't miss those things when you're in the pros these days.
Talk to him and say,
So
yes,
it was like,
agree.
oh, okay. But then it is interesting. And then Kansei, the phenomenal year he had, is just like exploded in this popularity, the national attention, pretty much like the most popular out of all those players that culminated into one. Now that they have all kind of moved on from the University of Hawaii, in a sense. I know Kansei will definitely come back, and he said he wants to make Hawaii his home. I did ask him if I did preface it with, I know you'll be happy if you land anywhere on an NFL team, but if you could choose.
Do you have a preference?
If you could choose, same thing like how we all thought West Coast. If you could choose,
right.
West Coast would be ideal. And honestly, it didn't necessarily stem from what we say, and at least he can kick in warm weather. It's just
I would assume
closer to Hawaii, closer to Japan, and it's just overall it'll be interesting.
Easier for the family to come watch once again. Easier to get back to Hawaii / cheaper to get back to Hawaii. Because listen, kicker contracts are nice. They don't pay kickers
Especially
what they pay Patrick
years.
Mahomes.
But they don't pay. Or it's rare that a kicker will get drafted in like the first couple of days in the NFL draft, and once you're towards the end or you sign an undrafted contract, the pay isn't as high as those second round guys, right? Like, where you can make a decent living off of that first round contract if you spend your money wisely.
You should be set for life if you're drafted in the first I won't say 3 rounds because that's probably a stretch. If you're drafted in the first round, you should be set for life. If you're drafted in the first 2 rounds, you probably should be set for life. Those contracts are pretty nice.
So it was a fun time again. Shout out to everyone that came out, and I wish today I could tell you that there were some leftover T-shirts that he had signed after that they did make available, because the kicker of the year, the limited edition ones, the ones that were left over, Conte did sign. They put them up for sale, and they are already gone.
I was going to say, there's a better chance.
Gone.
What's the phrase? Ice Cube's chance in hell of surviving or whatever it is. Like, it's those were gone before they were even on sale.
Yeah.
That's the best way to think about it.
Apparently, people were calling the store. They might still have the store opens today at 11. I want to say there are still some items that got added, some signed bumper stickers, some signed of the dual posters, but there's might only be like 10 of each or something. So I'm not sure how much it costs. At High Life Ward, you guys can call. I'll go or check their social media. I'll kind of go see what got posted. But as far as because I had to go watch somebody or see them go out the door to walk over some more signed stuff next door. Like, where are you going yesterday? I have to drop off stuff to High Life. It's such a high demand. So, call the High Life store at Ward Village. That's the only one, Ward Village only, that it could possibly be available. A few more items today, but the kicker of the year shirts that are signed by Conce are officially all gone for sure.
And may the odds ever be in your favor.
Exactly. All right. We do need to take a break. When we come back, we will continue our Hawaii football conversation, but kind of recap some of the losses that Hawaii has due to eligibility and some that could potentially be coming back. For waivers that are being granted, waivers that are being sought after, and looking to, especially when I went to look over it yesterday, Paul, defense. We got a lot of work to do in the transfer portal / recruiting cycle here for the defensive side of the football if we want to continue all of these winning ways. But we'll be back to talk some more Hawaii football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Ku'ulei Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. All right, we were kind of curious and wanted to go through, now that we mentioned the transfer portal.
You can say it. We were bored. The weekend was boring. We had to do work where we looked at the football team because the weekend was boring.
We're already having withdrawals. Like, all right, we did our. We'll continue to celebrate that, and think about and probably reference back to that
I've
Hawaii
watched the
Bowl
highlights
win.
like 33 times.
We'll probably continue to talk about that, but for the most part, it's like, all right, let's gear up for next football season already. So, yes, we kind of, tried to take a look at, because we know there was 26 seniors that were honored on senior night against Wyoming this past season for the football team, and then kind of looking through just the depth chart, and I was curious. I'm like, all right, how substantial are some of these quote-unquote losses? Because I know offensively we've talked a lot about Jackson Harris, and deservedly so. We know he had that really big season this past year, but as far as what we saw in the Hawai'i Bowl, something that came through to fruition, which is what we were talking about leading up to it when Jackson Harris announced that he is intent to enter the transfer portal. We're like, well, it's a good thing that Hawaii has a lot of depth at the receiving core, and that's showed up in the Hawai'i Bowl. So it's like,
sure enough.
And depth at receiver and at quarterback. We're going to add in Michael Eugenio that's going to come here in just a little bit, and then Luke Weaver still continuing to do Luke Weaver things as being a substantial and a key backup piece to this roster. So offensively, especially those positions in quarterback and receiver, it looks like are okay. And can you imagine? I'm just curious who the next what was the term that Coach Ursua uses? Oh, the receiver graveyard. I'm seeing who they get in the receiver graveyard, and to go
it's
back
really
to just
I really like
to
that.
describe what that means is just like Jackson Harris. The Coach Ursua tries to find some of these receivers that are underutilized at wherever they may be, whatever level they are at, and then bring them here and essentially do what he did with Jackson Harris. So it's kind of finding those under the radar guys. So I'm curious, of course, who the next under the radar guy is going to be, the receiver graveyard that Coach Ursua is going to go in and find someone. I do want to note this article by Stephen Tsai that came out yesterday, just a little bit more details. And speaking of one of the receivers, Carson Pupunu, who also played a significant role in that Hawai'i Bowl, will petition to play as a 7th-year senior in 2026. But for a good reason. So with all of the craziness going on,
not for NIL reasons,
not for the what we hear like Diego Pavia and all of these other entitled people these days that are like, oh, my loss in revenue or whatever. Anyways, Carson Pupunu, again, this is via Stephen Tsai, that after consulting with coaches and UH compliance officers, Pupunu has filed an application with the NCAA for a waiver that would allow him to play as a 7th-year senior in 2026. Let's see, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the 2020 season, which was Carson's first collegiate season after graduating from Kamehameha Maui, does not count against his eligibility clock. But during the 2021 training camp, he suffered a kidney infection that required hospitalization.
Sounds awful.
I know. After being released, Pupunu recalled pretty much all of the season. I was part of the team. I was at home recovering. He is petitioning to receive a medical hardship for that 2021 season. So if approved, the start of his eligibility clock would reset to 2022, when he was a member of the scout team and did not appear in any games. So that would count as a redshirt year, leaving Pupunu with 4 ensuing years to play 4 seasons. So to me, legitimate reason by all accounts based on the previous and the NCAA waiver rules that I wish we could go back to and stick to. But I hope that this gets granted. And I texted you that this would be the most NCAA thing to do if they had granted some of these other, like the Diego Pavia one is still going, and they've granted some other waivers.
New Diego Pavia one.
Yeah, the new one. And if it would be the most NCAA things to do would be to deny Carson Pupunu, who has a legit reasoning for a waiver. But it's like, to me, he has the case to be granted it, but in this day and age, and I hope he will be, because not only do I want this for him as like this local guy to get this opportunity, but he has proven that he has been a key contributor to this football team in that receiving core. So it would be huge for the Rainbow Warriors if Carson Pupunu, because I feel like we've only begun to really see and scratch the surface of what he can do. And if he can come back for that final year, it would be just tremendous for not only him, but for this football team, of course.
Without doing much extra recon on it right now, it seems that it should be pretty cut and dry to me. Now, I also thought that about Tyon Grant Foster, or Foster Grant, whatever the player who was at GCU last year who went to Gonzaga this year was. But the NCAA also denied his waiver, despite him practically being like, whatever. I don't want to get into all that. But yes, it would be the most NCAA thing ever. It would also be real nice for Carson, who I think we hear Iran cannot say this all the time about men's basketball players. I think Carson has continued to be on this upward trajectory where it's like he's just kind of scratching the surface of his potential. And I thought we started to see that during the Hawai'i Bowl as well, where he had some massive, massive catches. And, he's not this athlete that's like, I don't know. He's not Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State, but he is a very productive receiver who, does his job very, very well. Like you said, would be a really welcome addition back into the wide receiver room next year, and also would probably make it a little easier for the coaching staff as they go through this offseason trying to piece together a new roster, because like we'll get into, there are other places on this team, other places on this roster that will need some reinforcements. Hopefully, if Pupunu gets another year, then all of a sudden, maybe wide receiver, instead of bringing in 2 new bodies, maybe you only need to bring in 1 new body. And then that gives you the ability to bring in 2 new defensive linemen or whatever it may be, right? And the domino effect from that could also be pretty significant for the University of Hawaii. So on multiple different levels, I am hoping that it gets granted.
Yeah, and it's always nice to have the more receivers in there that know the playbook, know the style of this offense, have that chemistry with Micah Alihado already, the better, right? I mean, you still have all this offseason, depending on when they decide to come over, if they're going to be here for spring, all of that stuff. But it would be nice to have someone that's in there because when you look at the receiving core, right, all they're losing, the main one, like Jackson Harris out of the picture since Hawaii was able to come out of with that massive win against Cal, it's just Nick Senecal that if you look at the depth chart and everything, that's kind of one of the main or key receivers that you won't have. Other than that, when you're looking through it, you got Brandon White coming back, or this is at this moment
I was gonna
coming
say,
back. I don't want to say that they
timestamp
yeah,
it?
wait.
Monday,
I don't want to say that
8:31 Hawaii time.
Anything I am saying now at coming back, let's just say that we have not seen that there has been any
As
movement.
of this moment in time.
I really hate this time that we are in.
Tough.
But
it's tough, but it is
please.
an important qualifier to add in.
Yeah. I just don't want it to be like people are taking it like, oh, they're coming back for sure. So aside from Pefele Ashlock and Micah Alihado, who we have seen actual recommitments from, everyone else we do not know for sure. But I'm just going by that we have not heard. In this case, no news is good news.
As of now, I would agree. No news is good news.
There's a disclaimer real quick. So on the offensive side, gosh, again, I hate that fact that we have to go through all of that jargon in this day and age, but here we are. So on the line, you do lose someone like Zen Sotelo, who is a senior on that.
Hit the line hard.
Yeah, Kuaupe Hopa was another significant piece that they're losing as well. But I mean, behind Kuau, you had Judah Kaio, who is only a junior as well, and Tui Muti was just a freshman at that center position, along with Ethan Spencer, who's just a junior. So at least that center spot, again, staying intact for the most part that we know of so far. I really hate that I have to keep doing that, and I apologize, but that is just the way that this crazy way of college sports is. But yes, the receiving core, if Carson comes back, you have kind of all of that intact. The running back room, you do have to replace kind of your do-it-all back in Landon Sims, right? Like he does the dirty work. Cam Barfield, just a junior. Again, no news is good news that he will be here this next season. But Landon Sims, you need to have that back that is going to be the one that gets gritty and is going to be your main blocker. I mean, he came up huge protecting for Luke Weaver in that final game-winning pass of the Hawai'i Bowl. So Landon Sims, definitely with his production, yes, he could carry the ball when we needed him to, but just all of the other things he did outside of running the ball is just going to be a key piece that Hawaii needs to replace. And I hope that they can find someone that comes close to a Landon Sims. Maybe they have someone in there right now, but a Landon Sims definitely. He's someone in there. But Cam Barfield, like I said.
No, not Barfield. The Mikaele. Sitani Mikaele.
Yeah. To be kind of like do it all back.
He needs to just slide into that position for me, because then oh man, the smile on my face every time one of these kids that I covered in high school gets a chance like that. I'd love it. Also, we say, hey, listen, during training camp, he laid the boom on a fourth team linebacker. So.
Oh, yeah, that's right. With the ball.
Satani Mikaele, man. Come on. There's chances for you.
And that's the thing, right? Like, there are a good amount of players that weren't necessarily young players that weren't necessarily on the depth chart this year, but they are working their way up terms of, I mean, like we saw like Zayden Matatarangi get into the Hawai'i Bowl for a split second, right?
That hurt for a second. Yeah, that was scary.
So you have all of these guys that maybe aren't part of the normal, the 2 deep depth chart, but they could be in that position next season. So that's another thing, especially on the defensive side, where that is where a lot of the replacements, and you got to fill a lot of these positions that are going to be vacant if we're, again, going by the most recent depth charts that we see.
Yeah, I know we got to take a break here soon, but you read my mind there, because I was looking at it, and actually for the most recent 2 deep that we got, which is obviously the Cal game, Mateus Ioane is the backup linebacker to Giovanni Iovino, and with question marks about when Jemai Otis will be back next season. Like, will he be back to start the next year? You hope so, but also you don't want to rush him back. Giovanni's graduating. You do have Wyndon Ho'ohuli, it seems, for another year. That's pretty nice. Mm-hmm. But linebacker is a place, you're losing Jalen Smith as well, where like you're losing a lot from that room. You'd love to see a guy like that step in. And you remember where CB in early season talking to us was pretty high praise for Ioane and how he could be in the future of his Rainbow Warrior career. So I'm real curious about guys like that and other players who could make the jobs of the coaches a lot easier going into the offseason, where, like I was mentioning with Carson Pupunu, how many of these guys can come into spring practice and show them that they didn't really need to recruit over them because, hey, you've got the answer right here. I think there are a few guys like that, and that's kind of exciting because that makes the job easier to rebuild a pretty good Hawaii team going into next season. Yeah,
and we need to take a break, but when we come back, we'll get more into kind of taking a look at the defensive side of the football and all of the key pieces that are going to, or that have been lost, especially due to eligibility. But as we were just mentioning, they have some depth that could kind of make their way in there, but still a lot of key pieces on the defensive side of the football, including both players on the 2 deep that they have to do a lot of work on. So we'll continue our Hawaii football conversation when we come back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
What do you say?
Welcome back to all of you, the beautiful list of all the beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den, Ku'ulei Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel this and every Monday morning. And every now and then we sprinkle in some other YouTube live streams, including we had 3 last week. This week we definitely will have 2. We'll have another one on New Year's Eve. So on Wednesday we'll have another YouTube live stream as well, and maybe we'll have one on Friday too. I don't know. We're just rocking and rolling into the new year. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. And you guys can text in on the conversation at 808-888-KGU1, 808-888-5481, or you can get on in there in the YouTube live chat. And we're talking about some football. We'll continue our UH football conversation, but it's slowly starting to hit me now, though, that we have men's and women's basketball this week on New Year's Day and then on Saturday as well. And UH men's volleyball is starting up this week, Paul. That is men's volleyball.
All
here.
the texts came through this weekend as well, where it was men's volleyball, men's basketball. We have men's basketball available today via Zoom because they just sneakily in the night, like Santa and the reindeer
like,
made their way off to the mainland. It was fine. It's fine. It's whatever. Rubber hits the road, and then like we were talking about to start the show, football still is practically right around the corner / still here. So there's no rest for the weary. Luckily, we're not weary. We are lucky. I don't know.
We are so lucky. I mean, that's why I ran into the security guard on my way in, and he's like, "Oh, you guys have off?" I was like, "Actually, there's basketball games to watch on New Year's Day for us." So, but yeah, and I do what I usually do. It's like, "Oh, shucks, we have to work on a holiday watching basketball games." And I mean, we'll tune into some of the college football playoff games, but as you guys know, our main coverage will be with the basketball games for the UH men and women that are happening on New Year's Day. But yeah, I'm like,
college
that's
football
going on.
Playoff that already happened. It was on Christmas Eve between the Bows and the Bears.
Paying attention because Hawaii is already into the CFP. What is this? The semifinal.
I don't know. We won ours, and then I think BYU won the PopTarts Bowl, right?
Oh yeah, the other national championship.
Yeah, there's that one there. I don't know. I'm digging all the other bowl games over the college football playoff
100%.
games. So like that.
They ain't got nothing on the Hawaii Bowl and the PopTarts Bowl, which we'll definitely. I got to talk about that, but we'll get into it after our continuing our UH football conversation. So just to recap, and I'll pull it up here for you guys just to make it a little easier. So the 2025 seniors that are graduating, the 26 seniors that were honored on senior night, we have it listed on there for this past senior night against Wyoming. Again, a little asterisk on Carson Pupunu, who is seeking that waiver. And Wyndon Ho'ohuli was granted another waiver as well to return. Also, transfer portal / left the team. Got a few guys on there. Shout out to Warrior All Access. If you guys kind of want the most updated list, Warrior All Access, and you don't want to scour social media, you can go to warriorallaccess.com. So Jackson Harris has been the most, prolific player that people are aware of that had entered the transfer portal, along with Billy Gowers, the punter as well. Again, wish them all the best. Then you had a wide receiver, Joey Farthing, who got into games a couple of times, but as we were just saying in the previous segment, I don't blame the guy. If you look at all the receivers that are returning, if you want to seek more playing time, I can't really fault anyone for doing that. DB, DeLeon Freeman, corner Ben Drake, offensive lineman KT Carter. So when you look at the secondary position, that's kind of where I feel like worry is not the right word, but the most pieces to figure out and to replace would come in on the defense, like we were just saying in that secondary. Because if we look back to that depth chart, some of the players that we are most familiar with, like Peter Manuma, shout out Peter for starting and ending his collegiate career here at the University of Hawaii. But you look at the two deep, I mean, it's like riddled with seniors on there. You got Verdell Edwards, Devin King at that corner position, Peter Manuma, Justin Sinclair, Keely Nahe Mendiola Jensen. You have Matangi Thompson, who is just a junior, but other than that, they were all seniors. You have Elijah Palmer, who's only a junior, but then behind him was Justin Sinclair as a senior as well. And then you mentioned the linebacker position, depending on when Jemai Otis is able to come in. No Giovanni Iovino anymore, but Mateus Ioane, who's just a freshman, was listed on the 2 deep, as Paul had mentioned earlier. And then you had Jalen Smith that Hawaii is losing at that linebacker position. But Wendon Ho'ohuli, who has been granted his waiver, is set to return. So a lot of positions to fill in. Also, the other corner, Jaheim Wilson-Jones is another one Hawaii's losing, but you have Elijah Gibson, who is there as a junior. But, whew, that is a lot to kind of look into, not to mention on the defensive line, Dejon Benton, who was a substantial piece for Hawaii, along with Luther McCoy, who I think is also seeking a waiver, right? Did I see that somewhere? I believe.
Yes.
Yeah,
so Luther McCoy and Wyndon Ho'ohuli are expected to receive medical waivers that will allow them to play as plus-year seniors in 2026. That's at the end of that Carson Papunu reporting from Stephen Tsai of the Star Advertiser. So that is very nice because, like you're getting at, when you look at the defense, a lot of the starters this year are gone.
And like
now.
you said, not just the starters, the 2 deep.
Well, right. The starter, and to be fair, that's kind of what this team was very good at this year, was giving both their defensive backfield and their defensive line subs. They were giving them opportunities to be as effective as possible because they had pretty good depth. When you're losing a Quinn Williams, a Carson Stuklinski, a Jamar Sakona, and a Dejon Benton, it would be really nice to have Luther McCoy back at the very least. And yes, there are other players who you hope can step up and be good there, but that would be a position group that I would truly expect, and I think you've seen it as well with Jeff Reinbold, what he's done in the recruiting sphere, whether it's the offers that continue to go out to JUCO guys or what they'll do once the portal actually opens. I would expect them to hit that position group very, very hard. And then, yeah, DBs, it's going to be really, really important. They have to bring in talent there because that was a group that I felt was kind of weak as it was this year. They're going to have to bring in more talent there, even if you do develop some younger guys. And on top of that, you're losing both safeties who are like good because Nahe was this was the best season of Nahe's career.
Yeah.
I don't think it's even an argument. And then Peter, I mean, we saw how impactful he could be against Cal. To lose both of those in the same offseason, it's, somebody's going to have to step up or 2 people are going to have to be brought in. I'm curious what ends up happening there.
Yeah, the good thing is, we mentioned this last week and it was posted on social, Lester Langafua'aina is returning because you look at those defensive end position as well, Jackie Johnson, Tariq Jones, all of those seniors. At least when we talk about some of the other guys coming up, we mentioned Mateus. You also have someone like Iosefa Letuli, who Hawaii does have as well. So there are guys that are on the team, but not necessarily listed on the 2 deep. So it's like, don't worry, we're not freaking out entirely, but it's just something to point out that this is going to be interesting to see some of the new players that come in, and not just come into the program in general, but just who take this huge leap up now to be significant pieces that are there on the team, but we see them make this step up to being a staple on the regular everyday game day rosters or the depth chart. So the good thing is, and you just mentioned like Jeff Reinbold, the good thing is I have a lot of faith in this coaching staff because as we talked about going into the season, right? Like, oh, there's all these question marks on the line, especially the offensive line. Oh man, what are we going to do?
Offensive line ended up pretty good,
Looks
man.
pretty darn good. So, I mean, that was just proof that, we've said it, but just to remind everybody with just this coaching staff and what they've been able to do, not only the recruiting, but what they continue to do here that we will see. But it is interesting to point out that when the expectation to continue its winning ways for Hawaii, the starting rosters or the starting and the depth chart will look quite different in 2026.
Some news from this morning. Aiden McComber, another one of my guys. Darn, he's hitting the transfer portal with 2 years left of eligibility. So make that another hole on the defensive line for the Rainbow Warriors. So, yeah, definitely expect them to hit the trenches pretty hard in this transfer portal. Sorry, it literally just popped up on my timeline as I opened it up. So, yeah, another player. Make that, what is that? 7 players in the transfer portal now for the Rainbow Warriors.
Around there. Paul's keeping track.
That's what I have right here.
Speaking of, before we go to break, since I see you marking stuff down, our friend out in Boise asked, and they said, not sure if I missed it. You did not, but this is something that maybe we should bring up tomorrow's show. We'll put it on the rundown for tomorrow. Asked if we did a Paul's Parlor recap. So I know we referred back to it here and there, but we did not actually do an entire Paul's Parlor recap. So let's put that on the docket for tomorrow's show, that we will go through the Paul's Parlor recap on this past season, excluding the Hawai'i Bowl. This was regular season only. I'm sure we probably hit some marks there without it. But no, that's a good reminder that, yes, we got to go through the Paul's Parlor recap. Just like we got to go see our recent tally heading into week 18 of the NFL, of what the quick picks are. And honestly,
that too.
Honestly, at this point, I don't even care.
It's a cherry on top.
I'm just like,
Bears are good.
Also, don't remind Kyle of this. I do think it's fun that I keep it close against Kyle, because I know he puts a lot of effort into his picks. Even though we call it quick picks, I know he puts a lot of thought and effort into it. I just go off of vibes.
Just rip off dome.
So the fact that, like, throughout the season I've been able to keep it pretty close is just like...
Remind me to give you an update during the break.
Okay. But yes, we're going to take our break. We'll be back to close out hour number 1 on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network.
Wake up in the den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Oh, always gives a good chuckle.
Can't help it.
And the answer is always yes. Fries.
I was going to say a double.
Actually, that's kind of funny. My first thing that I ate on Saturday was fries when we went to go a little post-game or post-event Pauhana up at Social. I'm like, French fries sound really good right now. Give me some French fries. I did not eat like all day through that entire event, and it was just like action for the Aloha for Kanse event, and I'm like, fries.
What's up with the shrinkflation at McDonald's on the fries? They're medium and large.
Is it shrinking again?
Dude, it's essentially the same thing. So you know how they're switching to they switch to the paper?
Yeah.
The large and the medium are practically the same amount. Like a full medium is like a 2/3 full large, and I'm not complaining about the workers. This is not them.
No.
But the workers are not trying to pack up your large fry as large as it should be. So I'm basically getting a medium and paying for a large, which, by the way, I'm speaking just sweet music to the corporate devils at McDonald's. They're hearing this and saying, keep doing this, dummy. But what are we doing here? Because you know when I didn't have this issue? When we had the cardboard boxes and whatever. So either make the bags bigger, or clearly I haven't thought about this at all.
No.
Or switch back to the cardboard where it's big, because my Fatacola needs every fry that possibly can go.
Guys, you just got to do what us Taco Bell Mexican pizza lovers did and bully them back into bringing it back.
We already bullied them into the snack wraps.
Because they tried to, what is it, like at Taco Bell is like, oh, the cardboard, whatever, better environment, blah, 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 blah. It's like, bring back the cardboard and the Mexican pizza, dang it.
I wish I actually believed them. I've totally just derailed this segment. I apologize. I wish I believed them that they were like, oh, we are trying to be environmentally sound. No, they're not.
No,
they
not.
Don't care
They
about
don't care.
the environment. They care about money. And they're like, we can dress it up as environmental care. And then how can we be the bad guys if we're trying to protect the environment? You're not. You're trying to get more money, and it just so happens that you have something that might be marginally, tangentially, slightly, decimal point better for the environment overall. Clearly, I'm not upset about it.
No,
I
you're
have
not
not thought
upset at
about
all.
it even a little bit. Would you like fries with that? Yes, I'd like the amount of fries that I paid for, actually.
I would like the same amount of
I would
fries.
like the amount of fries that I paid for instead of less. Less is not more, actually, in this case. Less is less. Once again, haven't thought about it at all.
That's like, well, it must have really grinded your gears when you saw, was that the Idaho Potato Bowl or whatever, where the coach gets dumped with the fries?
Oh, my God. What a waste. What a waste.
No, that could have fed me the whole
It's
container
an
full of
entire
fries.
weekend. It's a whole weekend's worth of fries. What
Not
are we
the
doing?
Fries.
Oh, golly.
Speaking of, I had to, actually, this is perfect to bring this up because,
boom,
like,
there we go.
talking about sports, kind of, once again, when sports meets food, again, the real national championships have taken place, and ironically, the two champs of those are the University of Hawaii and BYU.
They should play for the actual national
The
championship.
two most popular bowl games that have happened, that will happen. We're gonna.
Correct.
The college football season is over. The two best bowl games have already happened. The Hawaii Bowl, Hawaii coming up on top over Cal, and then the PopTarts Bowl that happened over the weekend, in which BYU beat Georgia Tech. And I tell you what, I had this in our little graphics thing, because my two favorite moments, maybe not entirely favorite moments, but from the PopTarts Bowl, just to end this first hour on a funny note, because this is probably for our guy Caesar, who is a huge Kalani Sitake fan, the head coach of BYU football. That guy, I mean, not that I'm surprised, because he is a massive
rocks.
human being, but he devoured the Pop-Tart in like a second. Like, it was insane. He just shoved it all in his mouth, and he just was like, wow! Like he had accomplished something, like put his hands up, not just already winning the bowl game as the head coach and beating Georgia Tech, but just, hey, I'm going to devour this Pop-Tart straight out of the football toaster trophy that they get. And then you had Slammin' Strawberry, who did its best BYU impersonation by not going into the toaster and opting to jump off the side. Like, Slammin' Strawberry is like, it's not my, the sign was like, it's not my time yet, or whatever, and then jumped off the side. And for those that missed it, I have it on there on our YouTube, but I'll describe it for our audio listeners only. But Slammin' Strawberry was like the Pop-Tart mascot that had muscles like muscles, and so he's a slamming strawberry. The whole thing was just entire. It was just laughing. Like I have rewatched multiple clips on social media. Nothing ever beats so far yet though the OG with the and then the Pop-Tart in the background. Like that's.
I appreciate bowls that lean into their boldness.
And shout out to Pop-Tarts because they are leaning into part of why you sponsor a bowl game is for advertising purposes.
It's great advertisement.
And whoever their marketing people are, because they keep the train going. I saw something on social media for the Pop-Tarts that they posted, like the merchandise that's available with the sprinkles on it of the teams.
I want some.
And then I guess the Slammin' Strawberry thing, they have commercials now because they have Pop-Tarts, like protein Pop-Tarts, and that's what it was for. And I'm like, you better have a Super Bowl commercial, Slammin' Strawberry, because I need more.
Their holiday bonus.
I need more Hulk strawberry Pop-Tarts in my life. But yes, shout out BYU and Kalani Sitake for engulfing and inhaling that Pop-Tart, and the bowl season.
It's over.
It's over. Hawai'i Bowl.
Hope
Hawaii
you guys
wins.
enjoyed it.
PopTarts Bowl is over, and it's NFL playoffs now. There's no more bowl seasons in college anymore.
NFL playoffs, and
nothing else happening on New Year's Day.
For NFL draft.
Yeah, nothing else happening on New Year's Day except for UH basketball. That's it. Anyways, way past the clock. Clearly, I cannot stop talking about the bowl game / national champions that we observe here on Hawaii Sports Radio Network. But we'll be right back for hour number 2.
DS Welcome back to hour number 2 here on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network. 95.1 FM, AM 760, streaming live on hawaiisportsradio.com and on our YouTube channel. I'm filling in for our Ku'ulei Agbayani as she got a last-minute, I think, bloody nose over there. It's a tough time over here as we're talking in the den. In case you missed it, hour number 1 talked a lot of Hawaii football. In fact, I don't really know if we talked anything other than Hawaii football in hour number 1, where I guess opened up talking a little Chicago Bears and what their weekend was, both clinching the NFC North alongside unfortunately falling in what was very clearly the game of the weekend against the San Francisco 49ers. We were going to talk a little more NFL to start things out here in hour number 2, but I'm all by myself now all of a sudden. Going back through that first hour as well, we talked about some of the losses that the University of Hawaii suffered after graduation, or what will be graduation here for many of their players, and then also talked about some of the guys hitting the transfer portal, namely Billy Gowers, Jackson Harris, the two biggest names, Deleon Freeman as well, Aiden McComber, the defensive lineman from Bishop Gorman, who kind of helped spark the Bishop Gorman pipeline here to the University of Hawaii. The biggest names of the 7 players who have hit the transfer portal already for the University of Hawaii. If you're listening on in and have anything you want to chat about, be sure to shoot us a text at 808-888-KGU1. That's 808-888-5481 to get in on the conversation. Over the break, we did get a text. If the Jets don't get Mendoza, maybe they can sign Phillip Rivers. I'm sure Paul would love that. And unironically, Ku and I were actually talking about that the other day, where if you start looking at the quote-unquote bridge quarterbacks for this offseason, it's not exactly the greatest group, as Ku'ulei Agbayani rejoins me here in the studio, at least for a little bit. How we feeling, Ku? Are you all right over there? Or?
The show must go on.
The show must go on.
It has not stopped, but hold on. Trying to get everything. At least we have a far camera so people can't see that.
They don't have to get an up-close and personal view of you there like that.
Oh, man. It happens. The weather's been funky, and this is what we got to deal with. So,
what are you going to do?
Thank you for holding down the fort. Yeah, what are you going to do? But, yes, this is what I get for, I remember I had this when we weren't doing a live stream. I was like, good thing it's not on the live stream, and now it's on the live stream.
So that was my immediate thought was, remember that time that you were like, what if this happened? Or like, good thing it didn't happen during a YouTube stream. And then the best part is that it was perfectly fine. And then I go, oh, shoot, we're coming back. And boom. You at the same time are like, oh, shoot. And it's just panic between the two of us, where it's, we don't want dead air. We don't want the YouTube to be silent. The YouTube equipment is over on your side. Pure chaos.
Chaos.
I read our text from our texter talking about how if the Jets don't get Fernando Mendoza, maybe they can sign Phillip Rivers, and I'm sure Paul would love that. LOL also was added in there. I feel like that was an important part of the text. But if you go through the actual quarterbacks who are available in this offseason, like non-trade-wise, because I think the rumors were that the San Francisco 49ers are looking for a first-round pick for Mac Jones, which about made me throw up. Let's see. If we go through here, Ku, stop me when you get to a quarterback who you would feel comfortable starting for more than half a season for you if Caleb Williams got hurt. Ready? Jake Browning, Sam Howell, Skylar Thompson, Tommy DeVito, Brett Rippon, Gardner Minshew, Teddy Bridgewater, Kyle Allen, Malik Willis. That's one.
Oh, okay.
That's
Malik
one.
Willis.
All right, finally got to one.
A season ago, I would have thought Teddy Bridgewater, but not anymore.
Yeah, well, Teddy's also 33 now, so he's getting a little bit older. Carson Wentz, I guess, are the options. Josh Johnson, Brandon Allen, Trey Lance, maybe. Mitch Trubisky.
Oh gosh.
Maybe.
You know what? I'm glad the Bears don't have to worry about that per se because they got secret agent man. So
Exactly.
we're all good for the Chicago Bears.
But that's kind of what my overall point is when you look at it. I mean, I guess Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Also, can someone please take Malik Willis because right now he is with the Green Bay Packers and he was able to do his thing against the Bears. So it would be nice if Green Bay did not have a really good backup for if and when Jordan Love goes down. So somebody get Malik Willis,
He's suddenly
please.
become my top option for the Jets. Like, actually, and this, you can go through my text messages and see this. He has become my top option where I'm like, man, that 3 for $66 contract is going to be so elite here soon. That being said, I don't think that actually happens. I think Malik Willis will find a place and definitely won't be in New York, unfortunately, which gets us back to the conversation from before where Phillip Rivers suddenly, you say it tongue-in-cheek jokingly, it's not all that bad of an option considering when you look at everybody else. You'd have to trade for Jameis Winston. You'd have to trade for Mac Jones. You'd have to trade for Jacoby Brissett. I mean, I guess Tua, maybe, but I don't think Tua wants to play in the cold. I don't know if the Jets would really want to have Tua. It's just not great.
Oh, it's fun that you bring up Tua, actually, because I literally was thinking about this on my drive this morning. Just randomly, because Tua Tagovailoa's favorite NFL team is the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm like, what if Tua ended up in Dallas? Like, I feel like that's somewhere where he would be
And then Dak is a Jet. I'm here.
Yeah. We talk about him kind of resetting his career, potentially being a backup for a season or two, and then have this resurgence that some of the other guys did, like a Sam Darnold, and for a split second, Geno Smith, that sort of thing, right? Like, that seems to be the scenario and the way that Tua Tagovailoa could be headed in away from Miami and, like I said, resetting his career. And I'm like, you know what? I think for Tua, he would be happy if he was there in Dallas because if that's like his dream team, like that's his favorite team, NFL team growing up.
Way worse places to be then.
He could be at Dallas and back up Dak Prescott, who tends to be injured anyways. So
I was going to say, he'd certainly get an opportunity to play.
Yeah, like, that would be a pretty good scenario for Tua.
Also, playing inside, I know it's like whatever, blah, 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 but like I'm sure Tua, maybe this is overplayed at this point, but I think he would enjoy playing inside the dome. I think he would, like, it's a controlled environment, similar to almost how we talked about it'd be fun to see Kansai for a team who plays in a dome because it's a controlled environment. It's, it's never easy to kick, but it's a little bit easier to kick in a controlled environment. Similar for Tua, he wouldn't have to play in the cold necessarily all the time. Home games are always in that controlled environment. He'd be a backup for a bit. He'd get an opportunity to play sometimes because Dak always gets hurt. Yeah, I don't hate that at all. And then it's not that Dak and the Cowboys haven't had turmoil before. Who knows? Maybe Tua figures things out once again in Dallas, and then they're like, we don't really feel like paying Dak $60 million per year. Maybe we can get Tua at like $25 million because he's rehabbed his image and blah, 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 blah. That'd be fun. I don't know. As somebody who like hopes for the best for him, that would be another pretty solid landing place. The more we come up with good landing places, the better I feel about the potential for his career continuing. Sorry,
I'm just chuckling because I saw Colin's message on our YouTube. All the chaos. I'm like, that's what it feels like right now. I feel like it's like it's kind of a bad bleed right now, almost similar to when I was on the airplane.
A mortal wound.
It's like, I feel bad for the cleaners later on. They're going to think someone
got a murder in here. My Lord.
Here, just real quick for all the beautiful people.
Yeah, you just get an up-close and personal view.
I have a tampon in my nose, essentially. But, again, the show must go on. And that's
the thing. We're trying to get to the break. That's all we can do.
That's okay. I'm on cloud nine, essentially, especially talking about the NFL. At least Paul's rooting for the draft implications for the New York Jets. And then, of course, myself here is just rooting for the fact or celebrating the fact that the Bears are the kings of the North. However, that celebration, turns into being realistic in a sense because even though the Bears will be able to host in that wild card round, they will have to play against the Green Bay Packers most likely. And that is just the worst case scenario to have to face your divisional opponent in the wild card game. And I'm like, that one, similar to Cal and Hawaii, one has to fall. And I hope the smack talk that I did last season where I talked about, oh yeah, the Bears, all these are the three other NFC North teams that made it into the playoffs. You know, they all won the same amount of playoff games as the Chicago Bears. So I'm like, dang it. This could potentially come and bite me in, though. Cole is considering that the Bears need to start their playoff run that I hope will be an actual run against the Green Bay Packers. Again, seven seeds are all claimed in both sides on the NFC and AFC, but for the most part, the 8th spots are there. Not officially, though. So the Panthers and the Bucks, still Bucks with the long shot to potentially be able to sneak into the playoffs on the NFC side. And in the AFC, the Steelers likely will be in. But the Ravens, thank you, Ravens, once again, for giving the Chicago Bears a little bit of a boost there to be the kings of the NFC North. And the Ravens could still somehow sneak in there. And looking at Saturday, that's when you're just like, where was this Ravens team? Like, they are the most up and down team.
Yep.
Like, this entire season. Has there been another team that has been more wishy-washy? I mean, they've gone into games like being the favorite and have lost like this game, or it's opposite. They've gone into the games being the underdog going into Lambeau, and then they come out with a convincing win. So they've been all over the place.
The only team I would put in a similar category to them, I think, would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where they started the season out. Remember, that feels like a lifetime ago, where I think I uttered the words, the Buccaneers look like early Super Bowl contenders, because they did. I mean, they were coming back to win every game, and obviously that wasn't sustainable, and injuries eventually got to them. But, you know, that's a team where you look at the talent, you look at the injuries that they've had, and it's up and down year. They should have been way better than they are, and they still might end up making it. But even they, I don't know, or if they're on the same level. So, I don't know. I will say, by the way, for the Jets' strength of schedule rooting guide, it's a friend of this show, clearly. Bears have to defeat the Lions. The Browns have to defeat the Bengals. The Chargers have to defeat the Broncos. The Giants have to defeat the Cowboys. The Titans have to defeat the Jaguars. And the Patriots have to defeat the Dolphins. And the Jets have to lose. And then the Jets have the number 1 overall pick. So that's what we're rooting for this weekend. Go Bears, go Browns, go Chargers, go Giants, go Titans, go Patriots, go Bills. Because the Bills are playing the Jets.
Easy.
There you go.
Peasy.
If that happens, then I don't have to worry about Phillip Rivers next year.
All right, we're going to take a break. Hopefully, by the time we come back, the chaos will be not as chaotic as it is right now.
Maybe it'll just be our normal chaos then.
I really feel bad for the cleaners. It's going to, yeah. Anyways.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Couldn't help it, and that's just what happens. Thank the weather and the weird air conditioning we have in here. Anyways, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network.
Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Ku'ulei Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, HawaiiSportsRadio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. And I think I'm okay, everybody. We can switch back to the closer camera. So I gave them a little peek on what it looks like.
Closed the wound.
The chaos, I think, has subsided now. Yes, it happens. That was
the
me.
war of December 29th.
That was me after that tough battle I had yesterday against the San Francisco 49ers with the Chicago Bears. So, I got a little banged up.
Good one.
We fought hard. We fought hard in that game.
Definitely fought hard. It was a fun game.
That was what that nosebleed was. It was because I was part of that game. Fought hard against the San Francisco
Probably
49ers.
feels like it.
And but I mean, it just goes along with what I said earlier and how I likened that game yesterday between the Niners and Bears to a last 10 seconds of a Max Holloway fight, and Max Holloway pointing to the center of the octagon and just saying, "Let's go," because all it felt like, it was a football fan's dream. That game was yesterday. Just score, score, score. Like, let me just keep answering your touchdown with my touchdown and my which is so
It's
bad.
fun football.
I mean, you had 28 points scored in the first quarter of that game yesterday. Like, that is just the dream. And then it came down to the last drive, final play. Caleb Williams, he's so funny. Caleb Williams just continues to do Caleb Williams things. I'm glad Chris Collinsworth was thinking the same thing. He's like, he's an incredible talent. And then for some reason, there are some times where he just cannot make the simplest throws. And that was on that final drive yesterday. There was one that he missed, and then a couple of passes that were on target and got dropped. So, but the fact that the Bears were able to, now I know that the Niners are dealing with injuries, but they're still a really good team that's really well coached. And the Bears have the injuries themselves too. I mean, Caleb Williams is still without his number one receiver in Rome Odunze. They got a lot of injuries on the defensive side as well. So both teams, I mean, it was a fun game, and it makes me feel better about the fact that the Bears aren't, it's not like I thought they were lucky. You need to actually be good in the NFL, but because they're the cardiac Bears, all of that stuff, but because they were able to really go back and forth against this when playing your best football matters heading into the playoffs. It's bonus from here on out for me. Like, I just feel like I'm just going to enjoy the ride for the Chicago Bears. Getting the NFC North title is just massive. Like, helped by the Baltimore Ravens, but nonetheless,
Nope.
they
Champions.
still have to win. They're
Raise
still
the
the
banner.
champs. And watching them be able to perform the way that they did against a really good 49ers team and still somewhat be able to contain Christian McCaffrey was a feat in itself. So, yes, I feel a lot better with the Bears heading into the playoffs in the fact that, man, they could actually go pretty decent, because the Niners, I mean, we'll see what happens this weekend again against Seattle, but the Niners have those significant wins. They had, that overtime win against LA and the win against Seattle. Like, the Niners are a good team. So to see the Bears be able to take it down to the final drive that really could have gone either way if people just catch the darn passes and Caleb Williams makes easy throws. But, man, Paul, you must feel really silly about that crash out that you had after week 1, don't you? About the Bears. See, I told you. It was fine. It was going to be fine. I told you not to worry.
That's what you told me. That's for sure. Oh, man. I'm happy for you, my friend, because, man, the Jets are so bad. They're just so bad at football. It's just, and the thing is, I have the stomach for the tank. Like, I'm not upset about yesterday's loss, really, because it's like I succumbed to the year being down the drain after they traded away Sauce and Quinn. And actually, I swallowed that after they started out 0-5. I was like, all right, it's just going to be one of those years, huh? Yesterday was rough. So I am pleased at the very least that you and Michael both are having fun seasons, though. Michael, in a sense, I have to imagine it's got to be frustrating to be like 11-4 and be the 6th seed. I mean, like
that division is
and, like, one of
basically the
super-
NFC
or,
North. Yeah, like
one of the MVP favorites in Matthew Stafford and blah blah. Blah. Like, what the hell is? Oh God, it'd be so stupid. 'Cause
And-
they're the third quote unquote as of right now, as of today. The standings have them the third best team in their division. And they might be the best team, though those 49ers do look pretty darn good. And then the Seahawks look pretty darn good. Man, that's a brutal division.
I mean, it's going to be a interesting one this weekend for all of the many Seahawks and 49ers fans that are here in Hawaii, because it is almost it is potentially like your NFC championship game this weekend, and this is the championship for the number 1 seed, the home field advantage, the first round bye. All of that stuff all comes down to this weekend for that NFC West title between the Seahawks and 49ers. So I'm glad that, yes, you'd like to win, and by you, I mean the Chicago Bears, and win a divisional game against the Lions, but I mean, it's after that loss yesterday, you can't get the number 1 seed. Yada, yada, yada. But if you're a Seahawks and 49ers fans, man, this is going to be a fun pre-playoff weekend. Well, fun. Stressful. If I was a fan of either team this weekend, stressful weekend. But nonetheless, a fun, highly competitive football game. Like, I'm excited to tune into that one just to watch it, because I can imagine it's going to go back and forth, and with all those implications, again, number 1 seed on the line. And for the 49ers, they could be like the LA Rams were, not just a few seasons ago, where they were the number 1 seed and was able to win throughout the playoffs, hosted the NFC Championship game, hosting the Super Bowl. So if you're the 49ers, that's even bigger, because you get to relax
You could just
in the
stick at
comfort
home for
of
a
your
month.
yeah. So it's like, that's what you want. Like, they're gonna go out there, even despite not having some significant pieces. They're gonna go out there and want to be able to win this game, because if you can have home field advantage on
Oh
top
my
of the
God.
fact that the
Plus
Super
the
Bowl
bye.
is there too, like, that just goes entirely in your favor, especially with the NFC being as strong as it is. Like, I feel like on the other side with the AFC, I mean, the AFC, I know our friend Colin there, shout out Colin, wants his Chargers to win against the Broncos, but he's said he's okay if the Chargers are resting their guys, and I can't blame him, because the Chargers
Go Chargers.
don't have anything to necessarily play for, nothing like a number 1 seed. However, they are playing the Broncos, who are trying to beat the Chargers for that number 1 seed, because if they win, they get it. If they lose, there's a loss, would just mean that it could be
Patriots.
the Patriots and the Jaguars, who the red hot Jaguars so far, they have to lose in order to still get that number 1 seed. So the Broncos, if the Chargers choose to kind of rest some of their players, but hey, never say never. But the Broncos for sure are going out there so that they can potentially lock up the number 1 seed, first round bye, home field advantage, all of that stuff, yada, yada, yada. So I know other fans of these different NFL teams like the Patriots and the Jags, everyone's rooting for the Chargers this weekend against the Broncos, including Paul Brecht over here.
Yeah, go Chargers. The Chargers.
The
Go
Chargers.
Chargers.
But then it could mean the Patriots could get home field.
I don't care. They're still frauds. I
They
don't
are.
care. They have what? Koo, think about this, all right? They have one
I know.
win against a team
Winning
over
team.
500. All right? I'm supposed to fear them? No. Absolutely not. I will give them their flowers 3 years after they win the Super Bowl. Because that is when the statute of limitations are up. But no, even if the Patriots are the 1 seed, I still win, because I loved Mike Vrabel as a hiring. I was just like, oh, Vrabel's going to turn around, blah, blah, blah,
True.
blah. Drake May, I checked the tape.
Yes, check the tape.
Drake May, I was not a believer in Stephon Diggs. I thought he was kind of cooked coming off an ACL tear. I was wrong there. Hand up. That's on me, guys. Josh McDaniels still really, really good as an offensive coordinator. I can't say that the Patriots' success surprises me. They're still frauds, just like the Broncos. I'll tell you that one of the top 2 seeds, if it stays as it is today, for the AFC will not be in the Super Bowl. Neither of them will be in the Super Bowl if it stands today. I think any of the Jags, the Steelers, the Bills, the Chargers, and the Texans, one of them's going to the Super Bowl for the AFC, not one of the top 2 seeds. There you go. There's my hot take for the day.
There's your hot take. I like that. By the way, can someone tell me what's up with the gosh darn Eagles? Like,
The Eagles would love to know if you get the answer.
who are you, Eagles? I can't figure you out. Like, because then it's like the Eagles and that Bills game. Like, what the heck happened in that game? Like, I don't even know. Like, what
Insanity.
low scoring insanity? It was basically the opposite of the Bears Niners game. It's like high scoring insanity, low scoring insanity. You got the Eagles that were essentially winning 3 quarters, and the Bills could not like score at all. And then you get down to the final quarter, and then Josh Allen wants to do Josh Allen things, and the Eagles do the Eagles things that I can't figure out. So yeah, maybe we can ask Zorned, who is an Eagles fan, like what the heck are we expecting from the Eagles? And it's like
Zor's
coming down this.
birthday.
Oh,
If I'm not mistaken, I'm like 99% sure it's Zor's birthday. So if it is, happy birthday,
Happy
Zor. I
birthday,
got
Zor.
you a win over the Bills for your birthday. You're welcome.
Either way, I'm excited about these playoffs because there are so many question marks. Yes, the Eagles have been there quite often, but like seeing all of these different teams enter the chat and not knowing who could potentially come out on top. I saw something, I wish I saved it, but it was like the super, what is it? Like the last 4 seasons, the number 1 seed in the AFC has been the Kansas City Chiefs, or not the last 4 seasons, 4 out of the last 7 seasons. It's been the Chiefs as the number 1 seed. 1 season has been the Titans, and 2 seasons, I know, right? Like,
But who coached that Titans team?
Mike Vrabel.
There you go. Look at that.
Ah!
It's funny. Anyway.
And 2 have been
Probably the Ravens.
I'm probably thinking the
I was gonna
Ravens.
say, it feels like the Ravens, the Titans.
So the fact that the AFC 1 seed is just completely
It's
wide
neither of
open
them.
still, yeah, is like, wow, that's pretty. This is going to be a really fun playoffs, and it's all going to start with, sorry, Seahawks and Niners fans, but this weekend going to be
Dude.
awesome.
Dude, a slugfest of all slugfests. We will be there. We will have a bucket of popcorn. We will be watching.
Glad it's not my team.
I was going to say, I feel bad, but I don't. Maybe I should get Mitch and Kyle in a room together.
Oh.
Maybe that's what I'll do. Be like, we should watch this game together, fellas. Because they're both, obviously, they are opposing fans. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. I'll have to shoot them a text.
Yeah, and it's so interesting how the games are set up too, because the first time they played was the very first game of the entire season, in which the Niners won in Seattle 17-13. So this weekend's game is in San Fran. So, man, the Niners are just, talk about having a nice favorable schedule down the stretch. But winning matters, Paul.
Winning matters. You know,
So you win
actually
this, and you get to just enjoy the fact that the stars aligned and the Super Bowl that's the one lucky part of it. But other than that, winning matters. The Super Bowl is there in your
that's
city.
Fine and dandy, Koo. But have you seen the schedule that Buffalo has played this year? How can you tell me that's not the best team in the AFC? They play such a tough schedule. Who cares that they have 5 losses? They should be the number 1 seed. Why? What matters about wins? Who cares? Right? That's what college football says. The Bills are the bigger brand. I don't care about the Broncos. I mean, Josh Allen over Bo Nix. I mean, think about the ratings, Koo. Who cares about wins? Sorry. I just can't help myself.
I get it.
Because it sounds ridiculous.
It does sound ridiculous.
Anyway,
We don't do
sorry.
that any other. But you know what? Yeah. Anyways,
Don't
last
get
thing
me
before we go to a
started.
break. This texter texting in, when will the NFL switch to a draft lottery like all the other major U.S. sports leagues? Hopefully never.
Hopefully after the Jets finally figure out quarterback.
After the Jets get their Super Bowl, then Paul will be like, okay, it's
I
fine.
don't even need a Super Bowl. I just need, give me a good quarterback that's like below the age of 25 that I can watch for a decade. That's all I want. I don't even need to win a Super Bowl. I just want to watch competent football. Once we do that, then we can go to the draft lottery. Then it's like whatever. I don't love the draft lottery. I actually hate the lottery.
I like
if
how
I'm
the
being
NFL
quite
is,
honest.
yeah.
But I hate the fact that you can just kind of outwardly tank and then it's like you get guaranteed a top pick. So I do understand the people who are like,
Yeah.
But also like,
But I'd rather have that situation than a Dallas Maverick situation where you're like, oh, look, all of a sudden we didn't know
Correct.
who was going to get the top seed, but now it's Dallas again. Like,
so I do think that at least there are negatives to tanking, especially in the NFL. Football fans hate losing.
yeah.
And like more than anything else. So if you're just going to like outwardly tank, unless you're a Jets fan and you have Stockholm syndrome like me, you're probably just not going to support the team anymore.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before. If there's one thing that will speak to these guys over emotional or what person to person, it's the dollars. Once those dollars start going, they're going to be like, now, wait a second. We got to start focusing on winning here. So this is not a baseball situation where they're all going to share the money and they're going to be like,
Although, shout out
perfectly
Max
fine.
Crosby.
Yeah.
Max Crosby for the
what,
Raiders. He's been shut down for the season. So that's how NFL teams tank, in a sense. They start shutting down if they have no playoff implications and all that stuff. Not just separate for maybe some of the people listening or watching that aren't huge NFL fans. This is a separate situation like our friend Colin's team in the Chargers, where they're going to rest players because they're in the playoffs and it doesn't really matter if they win or lose in this situation. So you just want to rest your guys. Where if you have missed the playoffs and we're talking about the NFL draft, and the more you lose, how better your chances to get a higher pick. You do what the Raiders are doing, and you're like, let us rest our best players so that we won't be tanking on when we get out there in the game, but you have someone like a Max Crosby that is a significant piece and disruptor when he's in the game.
Take your all-pro player and say, go home, buddy.
Yeah, you're like, you're shut down. But Max Crosby was not, because a lot of these guys, they want to win too, and they want to play. So Max Crosby was like, they shut him down for like injury reasons or whatever.
He's got to get knee surgery.
And he's like playing basketball, like
and
posting it on social
trampoline.
Media. He's like, I'm fine. And I'm like,
I love the NFL, man.
And I love that guy. Max Crosby is like,
he's going to be a great Jet.
Yeah. You beat me to it, because I would love for him to be a Chicago Bear. He just he matches. He's
got
be a Bear.
the bite that you need in like a good team, and I do feel bad for him. I'll wrap this up quickly. I do feel bad for him in a sense of like being on a bad team for his whole career, because that sucks. Also, he did sign a big contract, so like whatever, he had his choice. He could have suggested it, whatever. Blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, like, I like guys who want to go out there, want to play, want to win, want to build something. That's who he is. So I cannot fault him at all for being frustrated for being shut down, especially when the Raiders are egregiously tanking. Like, the Jets at least were smart about it. They've been progressively shutting down their good players over the past like month and a half. Like, Garrett Wilson hasn't played since the middle of October. Like, all of this stuff. The Raiders just all of a sudden they were like, wow, we suck. Oh, all the players who don't suck on our team are hurt. That's crazy, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, that just made me think about that other interesting record with Sauce and like 1-7 and 1-7.
He wasn't even part of the win, by the way. He was hurt for the win that the Jets got. He didn't even play.
So Sauce Gardner with the Jets starting off the season, starting off his career, 1-7 with the Jets, and like Paul just mentioned, not even part of the win. Got traded away to the Cowboys, and when he's been on the team of the Cowboys,
Colts.
1-7. I mean Colts. Sorry, 1-7 with the Colts.
It's okay though, because Quinnen Williams got traded to the Cowboys, and they have not done much better. And as somebody who has his favorite team with both of those draft picks, it's been a great watch.
And again,
this is
why we want to keep the draft picks wwhere they are, and not have to deal with the lottery.
We don't need any lottery here, unless those picks would then become the first overall pick. Then we can talk about the.
All right, we definitely need to take a break. We'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to all of you, the beautiful list of all the beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den, Ku'ule Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com. And you can watch us right now every single Monday as well on our YouTube channel. We'll also be live on YouTube on New Year's Eve to celebrate the final day of 2025 with all of you and everyone that has tuned in all throughout the year. So we appreciate you guys. And that is why you are the beautifulest of all the beautiful people. So I was chuckling because I never listened that closely to the lyrics of that song. And it was saying something like something about lemonade and like drink and taste the clouds away or something. And I'm like, that's a fun line.
Yeah, it's a great song.
I'm like, I love the brand new day part, but I never listened to like the lyrics of that under part. And I'm like, wait, that's a really good line.
It's because normally you are hosting the show at that point, and I am just jamming out over here as I fade the music out.
I never
it's a
heard
great
that part.
line. It's very, very fun. It's every time we put it on the rotation, I am always a big fan of it. But I don't want to overplay it. That's my worry, where it's like it's so fun, but I also don't want to play it too much because it is so fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love it.
That.
I'm glad you noticed
Something lemonade, drink the clouds away. I'm like, that's a good one. Totally matches the vibe of that entire song, but I just never really noticed it at that point. Let's see. Only got a few minutes before we have to hit our final break, but I wanted to bring up this text that we got earlier. Again, we mentioned that it's going to hit the new year, and Hawaii football season is all pow, but the transfer portal opens up on January 2nd, and it's going to be a short one, just a few weeks. So January 2nd through January 16th for that single portal now. And again, if some people are wondering, like, but we've heard about the portal. I'm like, yes, people have announced their intent to enter, but it doesn't actually open until January 2nd. Runs through the 16th.
Which, by the way, means nobody is talking to anybody yet.
Yes. So it's just people are, yeah, exactly.
Wink, wink.
Nothing.
Nudge,
Nothing
nudge.
at all. No, I mean,
no
that never happens.
representation, no tampering, no nothing.
But that never happens before people actually announce either.
No.
So that's happening this week. And then, but even though, so it feels like football season, I'm sure the coaches took a little bit of a break, but they're back to work and having to scour the potential of the transfer portal, and then really back to work when that transfer portal opens, on top of other recruiting things that I'm sure they're planning on. Then spring practices will be here in no time. If it's like last year, February is when they started up their spring practice, way earlier than any of the other collegiate football programs as well. So football is right around the corner. Hawaii football back at it pretty soon. That will be, we talked about it today about some of the pieces that are lost due to graduation and for the transfer portal. But just overall, football season continues here shortly. But also, though, now we are heading into basketball season, the Big West basketball season, and New Year's Day marks the start of the rest of the slate of the conference schedule. Non-con is all PAL. The men's basketball team has been off for almost a month, so they are nice and rested. But again, we'll have some more basketball talk for you guys on tomorrow's show, because we're set to have a media availability later on this morning, as they are already on the continent. So we'll get into some basketball talk, men's and women's in action this Thursday against UC Riverside, and then against UC San Diego on Saturday. And then men's volleyball starts on Friday already. So a lot of these UH sports starting up again, but I wanted to make sure we get to this text that somebody asked us about, saying, do you guys know a Ryan Inoue from HPU baseball? ? Evidently was reading he transferred to UH this season. All-time leading save leader at HPU. Is he a hard thrower? Sounds like Coach Hill has another stacked team going along with his new contract through 2029. So yes, we are very familiar with Ryan Inoue in our time covering HPU. And yes, he does throw very hard. He just can be a little inconsistent, but UH can do UH things. HPU, they didn't have an actual pitching coach for a little bit. It was Dane Fujinaka. So they just hired They just hired a pitching coach, but prior to that, it was Coach Dane, the head coach / former catcher, that would act as the pitching coach, and which he did what he could do, but it can take you to another level and try to fix a few things here and there if you have a true pitching coach at that position, just like how we see Coach Richie Higa in terms of the hitting and how much HPU has been able to improve their hitting when you have someone that is only focusing on that one thing. So I think with Ryan Inoue, he's a hard thrower. When he's on it, he did very well as that closer for HPU, but again, sometimes there was some inconsistency. But I think him going over to UH, there's a good starting canvas that HPU is getting in Ryan Inoue, or that UH is getting in Ryan Inoue, and I think they can level up his game now, being with the Rainbow Warriors, because they will be more tailored now with the pitching with Inoue going over there. So I think, yes, it's UH fans can look forward to Ryan Inoue coming over there and potentially elevating his pitching game with the Rainbow Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can add a guy with experience closing out games at the back end of your bullpen is very exciting. He does throw relatively hard. I think he tops out around 92, 93 miles an hour. He's a 3-pitch pitcher, has a nasty slider to go along with a changeup and a pretty good fastball. And similar to what you said, I'm excited to see what the Hawaii coaching staff can do with him. We've seen in previous seasons where transfers will come in or young guys come in and, they're these balls of clay and they are very easily molded. I'm excited to see what UH is able to do with him because, like you said, I think there are a few mechanical things that if he's able to get, and this is just the reality of D1 versus D2 resources, where he's able to get the attention, the focus, the same way that a lot of the HPU hitters do get, like you said, with Richie Higa. Think about how much that can go on because not only maybe his control gets a little bit better, but with the cleaning up of some mechanics, with the prioritizing of a few things, maybe Ryan Inoue becomes a 94 95 mile an hour fastball along with 2 extra pitches. And all of a sudden you're talking about him in the back end of a bullpen with Isaiah Magdaleno or a few other guys. Magdaleno, maybe he starts games this year. Who knows with Rich Hill and this staff. But it just gives you another really nice option out of the bullpen. I would not expect him to start games this year, and if he does, it would be more so in in MLB baseball where they have the opener role. Like maybe UH would do that with him, but he's a nice piece to the bullpen who I think has even more of a ceiling to get to. Already a nice solid player.
He also has you probably will describe it a bit better than me, Paul, and maybe if it is a factor with the way that he pitches and potentially how batters see him, he does have a very different delivery, is what we can say about him. He kind of, oh my gosh, that's why I'm like, I feel like Paul is a lot better with his descriptive words. So yeah, he gets very, very low to the ground on his delivery, and almost, it's just, he crouches down really, really low. I don't know how much you can elaborate a little bit more on that, Paul. Just his delivery is definitely something that if fans have not seen him pitch before, that'll probably be your immediate takeaway from watching him pitch for the first time, is that his delivery is very, very different from most pitchers.
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite submarine. It's not quite 3/4 arm slot. It's probably somewhere in between there where a lot of people would look at it and probably be like, oh, sidearm. But it's consistent in that sense. His delivery is overall pretty solid there. There are a couple of things that I'd tweak from that. But yeah, he's got this. It's funny. His stance, you start down low like this, so a little bit more compact than a lot of pitchers that you see. And then he really explodes out where it allows him to get a little more behind that sidewinding, that, mid-quarter slot, arm angle that you get from him. He's fun. He is a fun player. At the very least, it's a change of pace type of guy, a look type of guy that the Rainbow Warriors can use because they don't have a lot of pitchers who don't throw from that over-the-top slot. So to have somebody from a different delivery just to change things up, it'll be pretty fun.
Yeah. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back to close it out here on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Ku'ulei Agbayani, Paul Brecht closing it out here on this Monday. Just a few days left of 2025 on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network and on our YouTube channel. Reminder that we will have a special New Year's Eve live stream coming up this week, Wednesday, why not? Because it'll be the last YouTube live stream of the year. And maybe we'll see you again on January 2nd to be like the first YouTube live stream of the year.
Depending on how exciting New Year's Day is with these basketball games.
This is true. We might have to do that as well. But thank you guys for, again, tuning in. You can watch or listen on demand. Earlier, we had Colin say, all the live streams. Live stream every day. I know everyone's been kind of saying that as well, but there's going to be a lot of stuff to go on. As we mentioned earlier, men's volleyball starts up on Friday. They're going to welcome in the New Jersey Institute of Technology coming all the way here to Hawaii to play the Rainbow Warriors this Friday already at Banco Arena at Stan Sheriff Center. So Friday and Sunday, game time on Friday is 7, and on Sunday you can catch them at 5 o'clock p.m. In person or watching via Spectrum Sports. And then next week they'll host Loyola Chicago, also alumni game going on. But yeah, it's just interesting. I'm like, man, this is men's volleyball season. Like when we were trying to, we do have OIA boys basketball coverage at the moment, tentatively planned for Friday, but we might switch that out for men's in order for us to go cover men's volleyball. But stay tuned. We're just about locked in with our OIA basketball coverage. Mahalo again to Ko'olau Federal Credit Union. We got HPU basketball coverage also coming up. It's going to be a busy January for us with all of the basketball broadcasts that we have scheduled for you guys, and in no time it will be baseball, softball season as well. So we're looking forward to another fun 2026 for you guys. But this week is packed with UH, as if the celebration couldn't go on any longer. And we'll keep celebrating that Hawaii Bowl win. But now it's basketball Thursday, men's volleyball Friday, and then it all continues. And just real quick again about men's volleyball, coming out that the men's volleyball team picked second in the preseason AVCA poll. Not really a big surprise.
It feels kind of right.
Yeah, that feels about right for Hawaii. So the men's volleyball team, and as we've seen with the Rainbow Warrior football team, that doesn't really matter. It's nice to get the preseason accolades, and as the coaches and the players will tell you that, it doesn't really matter entirely, because all that matters is how the season goes along. No surprise, UCLA at the top of that preseason poll, followed by Long Beach State at 3, Pepperdine at 4, USC 5, Irvine at 6, Loyola Chicago, who we just mentioned, Hawaii will play next week at 7, BYU 8, Stanford, who Hawaii will also play in a couple of weeks at Stanford there, and UC San Diego at 10, rounding out the preseason AVCA. So
that's for them.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for them, actually.
Again, Big West men's volleyball.
It continues to get better and better year over year. Very excited for men's volleyball season. So much talent on this team that has come back. So much that has been added as well. Obviously, we'll see without Milan what that change is like with this year's team. Nonetheless, Milan, his playing days are far behind him, so he might not impact them as much as we think, and maybe he'll impact them more than we think. Nonetheless, I'm excited to see him. First opportunities this weekend, and we don't see them this weekend, luckily there are a lot more opportunities to see them.
We can see them on Sunday at worst case. It's just
exactly.
Friday where it's like up in the air, and but it's gonna be almost like it's bittersweet with men's volleyball starting up again, because I'm going to miss the fan favorites in Ileu Choi and Kurt Neusterer no longer here with the Rainbow Warriors, as they have gone on now with their adult lives. But it is good for UH men's volleyball that they do have a lot of returnees and a lot of their key players are back. But I'm like, oh, no Ileu and no Kurt out there.
the guys we really, really loved from last year's team, too, are gone. That does make it sad. But that's all right. It opens up new opportunities for new young men to make the fan base fall in love with them, or for returners to make them fall in love even more. And that is their opportunity in front. That's positive Paul's take on it.
Well, hopefully we get our men's volleyball availability coming up this week. But today we'll have basketball. So on tomorrow's show, we'll talk some men's basketball and let you hear from head coach Ron Ganot and what he has to say ahead of this Big West openers coming up for the new year. But for now, we got to go. So for Paul Brecht, I'm Ku'ule Agbayani. Mahal for listening and watching. It's been Wake Up in the Den. Bye!